Tiger fans, what's going on, guys? Now I know you're thinking, you promised a second video this week. You're supposed to do a first half grades. It's already 9 o'clock. Where's the video at? Well, you're right. I'm tired and I'm a bum. But here we go. We're going to do it. So, Tigers start the second half of the season tomorrow, I believe in Seattle, to begin the second half of the campaign, even though technically they've already played more than half the season. And this video is going to be pretty much looking at the entire first half, like I've already done for a couple of the monthly report cards. Talk about the team, talk about the players. You guys know the deal. Let's just jump right on into it so this video is not 45 minutes. All right, so your and mine Detroit Tigers are sitting at a whopping 39-50. And I believe it's a 2-win improvement off of the pace of last year. So, whoop-de-doo. They're third place in the AL Central because the AL Central's a joke. And I believe the Guardians are in first place now because Minnesota's trash. And Cleveland's been less trash of all the trash. So, somehow, they are still within arm's reach of first place in this division somehow with the current record that they have. The record is not 100% indicative of actual results on the field. You know, May, really good. 16-11 month. Offense looked great. We had the breakout months from McKinstry. Riley Green hit 356 for a calendar month. Was one of the best hitters in all MLB. Then you go into June. 0-9. They were almost 0 for the first 2 weeks. They lose Riley Green and Eduardo Rodriguez within a 24-hour time span of one another after they were one game under 500, and they were basically knocking down the door of being in first place. They were super close, one game under 500. Offense was looking good, and then the injuries happened. And after that, it's been a tailspin, you know. But coming into the second half, looking at it going forward, they are pretty healthy. They've gotten back Tarik Skubal. They have now gotten back Riley Green. The rotation actually it's a complete rotation. There's no longer 2 bullpen days. In there, they actually have a plethora of pitchers, which is weird to say because now Joey Wentz and Alex Faedo are in AAA. They lost Matt Boyd for the year. First half, looking at the bullpen, has been definitely their strength. Defense has been wishy-washy so far. Baez is having a really good defensive season, but some of his throws are still like, what the hell? Third base has become an even bigger black hole. You know, last year I thought it was bad with Jamer and his defense and how bad he's been, and and he walks away, and he's had a near all-star year with the Nationals. And the Tigers can't find a third baseman. They have essentially played, I think, 5 or 6 different guys there at this point. Now second base is turned into a bit of a merry-go-round. And they're really using their spots in the outfield to basically rotate their handedness for their platoons, for left and right hitters. The one thing I will say, some positives to say about this roster, again, the bullpen's been really good. The defense has had flashes of being really good, especially up the middle. I really like what Ibanez and McKinstry have brought with the gloves. Kerry Carpenter, who was hurt for some of the year, he takes really bad routes to the ball, but he injured his shoulder robbing a home run, coincidentally enough. Definitely doesn't play a pretty right field. Matt Vierling has been really, really good defensive-wise this year, which I didn't think it was going to be after seeing him in spring training. Riley Green's played great center field. So, you know, the defense has been good. The offense has been crap again. Not much of an improvement over last year. So, that's basically everything you need to know about the first half. First month of the season was very meh. Second month of the season was their best month. McKinstry and Riley Green were like top 4 in on-base percentage for that month. Was their best offensive month of the season. Their only winning month. June, 0-9. Basically went down the shitter because they got hurt. And now, coming into the All-Star break, they are still within reach of the division and a playoff spot. but we'll touch on why I don't think that's a possibility, but they have gotten healthier. So let's actually get into the grades now. And we're going to go, I'm not going to give like every bullpen pitcher, every, whatever. We'll just give a quick synopsis. Jake Rogers, I think Jake Rogers gets a B-. His offense has been very streaky. He does have 11 home runs. I think that's second on the team behind Torkelson, yes. Does have 11 home runs. He had a couple of really, really bad stretches. So bad so that he had actually shaved his mustache off and then hit 2 home runs. I forget who he hit the 2 home runs against. It might have been the Braves. It was in a loss. I remember that. Hit 2 home runs in a loss. But he's been able to run into one more times than not this year. And his defense behind the plate has been really good. I don't know what his framing metrics are. I don't have that kind of information up, obviously, right in front of me. But overall, Jake Rogers, I think, would get a B- because his offense, he's been able to run into one. He's got 11 homers, seven doubles. So his on-base percentage is not amazing. Yeah, he's at 297, and his OPS is at 7. But he's almost got a 750 OPS plus, and he's got a 107 OPS plus. So he's been just above a league average player. So even though his offense, his average hasn't been pretty, and he has gone through streaks, I think overall he's been good enough, and he's hit enough home runs, and he's called a good enough game and played good enough defense to get a B-. So that's his first half grade. Spencer Torkelson. Now this is a hard one, because if you look at Torque the last month and a half, he had a really good May and then cooled off in June. But he got kind of hot-ish towards the end, All-Star break wise. I will say he's definitely shown a lot more when it comes to extra base power. He's leading the team with 20 doubles, leading the team by a lot. He's got 12 home runs, so that's 32 extra base hits out of him. His OPS is now over 700, and he's got a 98 OPS plus. So he's actually almost a league average player, which, you shouldn't be going, wow, our consensus 1-1 overall pick. He's almost a league average player. Hell yeah, this is great. The fact that he got rushed up, the fact that this time last year he was down in Toledo because he was so bad, and now this year, his numbers continue to improve. He's hitting the ball out of the ballpark more. He's leading the team in home runs. He's hitting a lot of doubles. His slumps haven't been as long, even though the average isn't great. I think his expected average, based off of his batting average on balls in play, his expected average is like 245 or 250. So he has got BABBITted a little bit. I swear to God, Torkelson's, it seems like his whole career outlier is going to be he hits balls 110 right at people. And he's just never going to have a high average because he just makes so many lineouts because he hits the ball so hard. It almost seems like hitting the ball so hard actually almost screws him, because it's like, it seems like he would get like more cheap hits in the outfield, like little Duncan shots, if he didn't hit the ball so damn hard. But he hits so many piss missile line rocket shots at people that, he hits a ball at 110 with an expecting batting average of like 500, but, it hangs up too long because he rips it so hard. But looking at it, he's got an OBP over 300. He's got an OPS over 700, finally. His slugging percentage is over the 400, which is, he's creeping up. So I'm going to give him a B overall. His defense at first hasn't been as good as it was last year. He hasn't been scooping as many balls out of the dirt as he did last year, even though there was that article written that he's one of the best in the MLB at scoops, and I think you have to be because of how much Javier Baez throws in the dirt. But I don't know. I don't think his defense has been as good as it was last year. I think he's still good over there, even when the metrics don't say he's that good. I still think he's good over there. But I don't think he's been as good as he was last year. But the fact that the stick is perking up, the fact that, he's been able to get out of slumps quicker, the fact that he's had a lot more extra base power. He had a week 2 weeks ago where he had 4 home runs in a week. So I would think he deserves a B because he's been overall a much better player. Zach Short. So Zach Short came up kind of hit like gangbusters. He's now been up for 55 games. He's got 4 home runs. He's hitting only a 279 on base, 73 OPS plus, 6 homers and 4 doubles and 4 homers. So his extra base pop. Now, it's kind of hard to be too critical of Zach Short because role player, utility player, a lot of pinch hits. He's been used for a lot of defensive substitutions. So I'm not going to be too hard on him. I think I'm going to give him a C plus because he has shown extra base power. He does have the ability to drive the ball out of the ballpark, but he's like a C plus B minus because of what he brings with the glove. He's been extremely solid anywhere you put him. He could play any of the infield positions besides first, which he never plays, but second, third, short, and he plays them at an above average clip. Extremely good arm, extremely accurate, very athletic, and he can play the outfield in a pinch. So I think he's like a C plus, just barely under a B minus, because he has definitely had issues with consistent contact after getting off to a hot start after he initially got called up from Toledo. Let's see, he's got Zach Short. He's got 35 strikeouts to 12 walks, so that's kind of a bit of a like a gap there, more than you want to see. Anyways. Javier Baez. I don't want to be like a douche. Everyone knows like I hate on Javier Baez a lot. You know, I said that he's blind, like he must be legally blind, and he uses Braille to find his bats. We're gonna look at his numbers and be completely critical here. 225 average, 260 on base, 329 slug, 589 OPS, a 64 OPS plus. I mean, Jonathan Schoop had a 64 OPS plus. This was a guy that was hoping he was going to come out this year and destroy the first half. Absolutely mutilate it. And he was going to try to be in a position where he'd opt out. Unfortunately, you know, he's got, what has he got? He's got 6 home runs. Now, he is like top 5 in the whole league for shortstop RBI, which is kind of weird. So he has been productive in a sense. But, I mean, he's got 81 strikeouts to 13 walks, and he's slugging 329. Like, that's a good on-base percentage. And a guy like Javier Baez, who's been almost an MVP, to be slugging someone's on base, like, it's just bad. I know his defense has been good, but, I mean, I'll be nice and give him a D because he's been playing such a good defense. Like I said, he's literally slugging someone's on-base percentage. His OPS plus was almost the same as Jonathan Schoop, a guy that just got DFA'd. I was just hoping he was going to destroy this year and opt out. And now we got him for, I think, 4 more years or 3 more years. I think it was a 5-year deal, so it's 3 more years. And I'm going to be great by the time this contract's over with because Jesus Christ. All right, Nick Maton. Nick Maton gets an F. I'm not even going to go into it. He's not even on the team. He's in Toledo right now. He can't play third. He strikes out way too much. Can't hit fastballs. Can't hit breaking balls. It's a joke of a bat. I like Nick Maton. I think he's got a great personality. I think he's a good human being. And I think there's more in that bat than he showed. But he has sucked. Absolutely sucked. He gets an F. He's one of the worst hitters in all MLB. Akil Baddoo, I'm going to give him a C+. C+, B-. No, you know something? No, I'm going to give him a B-. And the only reason why I don't give him higher is because he did start out a little bit slow. And right as he was coming into it, he got hurt. When he started finally hitting and bringing up his numbers. Right now, Akil Baddoo is sitting at 225 average, 331 on base, which is pretty good. But the slugging, 331 slug with his 633 OPS. But he has an 87 OPS plus, and he's played a lot better outfield. He has 6 steals already, but 38 strikeouts with 24 walks, which is actually not too bad. He's actually one of the better guys at walking on this team. And wow, Spencer Torkelson has 37 walks already. That's really damn good. I didn't even realize that until just looking at this. So I'll give him a B- because he's been good defensively. You'd like to see a little bit more gap power out of him, especially with how good his speed is. You'd like to see him hit a few more doubles because he's only got, he's got 7 doubles and 3 homers, so 16 RBI. But like I said, I don't want to be uber critical of him. Because he did get hurt right as he was starting to get hot and bring his numbers up. So I hope he continues in the second half like he was before he hurt his, I think it was his calf. Okay, Riley Green, he gets an absolute A. Or you could give him an A+, but then everybody would be like, oh, you're just saying that because you're a massive Riley Green fan. He gets an A. He's been absolutely great. He's been the best player on the team. It's not even close. After his little bit of a rough start at the start of the season, he's done absolutely great. Came back up. Already hit a home run the other day in a game they should have won. His numbers so far, he's hitting 305, 373 on base, 462 slugging, 835 OPS, 133 OPS plus. I mean, this guy would have been our all-star, and ain't even close if he didn't get hurt. He's got 6 homers, 3 triples, 9 doubles. He is striking out quite a bit, 66 strikeouts to 23 walks. Playing great center field. Fuck, he gets an A+. Like, I don't care. You guys can give me shit all you want. Riley Green has been a fucking stud. Been one of the best players on the Tigers. The best player on the Tigers. Not even close. Matt Vierling. I'm going to give him a B. He's been a really good damn hitter. I'm going to give him a B+. He's been a really good damn hitter. 280 average. He's got a 344 on base, 419 slug, 113 OPS plus, and I'm actually amazed. You know, we were talking last year that the Tigers only had one guy with an OPS league average OPS plus. I think that was Harold Castro. The Tigers got 1, 2, 3 guys with over a league average OPS plus, and Spencer Torkelson is almost exactly so almost half their lineup, 4 guys has a league average OPS plus. Which, you know, doesn't sound amazing, but when you're as bad as they've been, you know, that's progress. And that's progress you got to look at. Everyone talking about where their record is and, you know, how the rebuild is going to be forever because they take prep bats in the draft. But you see stuff like that, that's just incremental progress, and that's showing you steps that the players that they have on this team are improving, the players are getting better, and the roster isn't nearly as talent depleted as it has been in the past. So, speeding through this a little bit, Matt Vierling's been great. He's been hitting a lot. He's played a good center field. He's played a good right field. He's been absolutely extremely versatile. He's fit the role that Scott Harris got for him, being a handedness guy to where AJ can start him anywhere. AJ can use him off the bench in a pitch hit situation. Now he's going to start playing some infield now that Scope is gone. He has played some infield this year. So Matt Vierling's been great. He's been a really solid addition to this squad. Miguel Cabrera. Now, I'm not even going to shit on Miggy this video. I know the last couple of report cards, I was like, I'm not going to waste my time. He's just collecting the paycheck. But he's actually been hitting really good. I think his average over the last month is over 300. It's a lot of light damage. He's only got 1 home run all year, which was that Spencer Strider home run that he surprisingly hit on, which was not a ball that you would expect Miggy to get to anymore. It was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Usually Miggy is missing those pitches. That game against Oakland, where I think it was Fujinawa or whatever their closer is, came out and he was throwing 102, and Miggy got dusted in 3 pitches. So, but Miggy's been good. You know, I'll give him a C because his bat has looked better. He doesn't have extra base pop anymore like he had, but he has 10 doubles, 1 homer, and his on base is 328, and he's got 36 strikeouts to 21 walks. So Miggy is looking like Miggy without the home run power. Miguel Cabrera right now is like that guy that you play in softball who's really old and can't run, and he's always got to have a runner, but he never gets out. He always hits balls in between the shortstop and the left fielder. Every single time. It hits 1,000. So that's what Miggy looks like this year, lately. And let's hope he does, because it's kind of sad to see someone of his legacy, you know, he was just limping along, hitting 170. So it's been nice he's brought his numbers up. All right, Zach McKinstry. Now he's been really struggling since May. He didn't have a great June, anything like that. But he's still showing pop. He's got 6 home runs, 10 doubles, 1 triple, 326 on base. His slugging is only 368. His OPS is just a shade under 700 at 695, 95 OPS plus. So he's almost a league average player. Because of his defensive versatility and because of some of the big hits he's had in the first half, I'm going to give him a B-. I know he hasn't been as good as he was in May, but he's still been a major contributor to this team. He's been an outstanding addition, and he brings a lot to the team, so he gets a B-. Eric Haas gets an F. I'm not even going to elaborate. He's been absolutely horrible. He's had one stretch all year where he was hot. It was for a week in May where he had a couple home runs. He's been absolutely awful after that. If you want to be nice, you can give him a D- because he caught the combined no-hitter. So other than that, he's been terrible. Andy Ibanez, this is a really good one. So Andy Ibanez, his numbers aren't the prettiest, 236, 270, 419 slash, but he's got a 90 OPS plus. He's got 6 homers and 17 RBIs with 15 doubles. But he really came on in the month of June, and he was actually one of the better hitting infielders the Tigers had. Overall, he's been very streaky because he was really good in May, and then he went into an absolute slump towards the back end of it. So, yeah. Andy Ibanez, I think he gets a B because he's been versatile. He's played a decent left field. He's another guy that Hinch counts on to come off the bench, to be able to give him at bats against tough relievers. So I'm going to give him a B. Kerry Carpenter. Now, Kerry Carpenter, his numbers would look a lot better if he didn't get hurt. So Kerry Carpenter coming to the second half is hitting .261 with a .317 on base, a .484 slug, and a .121 OPS plus. Got 8 homers, 8 RBIs, and 1 triple. Does not play the prettiest right field like we've talked about. Does not play the prettiest left field like we talked about, but he's got pop. He's got 42 strikeouts to 11 walks. That's one thing I don't like that I'm seeing is that he's striking out a lot more than he's walking. In the minor leagues, he was pretty close to a 1-1 ratio. So he is chasing a bit more. Kerry Carpenter really likes that high fastball, and he's really susceptible to chasing that pitch up at the hat brim. He's gonna need to learn when to let him rip and not, because one thing about him, man, is he's been really chasing that high pitch, and he's going to continue to rack out strikeouts if he doesn't pick and choose his spots a little bit better. Excuse me, adjusting this camera real quick, guys. I apologize. Okay, so moving on through it. I'm not even going to touch on guys like Scope, Jake Marisnick, Tyler Nevin, Austin Meadows, all those guys. They get a combined F for being useless. Even though Jake Marisnick, he's not on the team anymore, but he did what needed to be done. And that was a good signing by Harris to bring him in while Green was down. So no quarrel with that. The pitching staff as a whole get a D- because overall it hasn't been great. But they've done what they've needed to do for the most part. Sucks that Matt Boyd's gone. He wasn't great, but he was still giving you innings. Now you lose that. So we'll go pitcher by pitcher here real quick because I don't want this video to go super long. Michael Lorenzen. We'll give him a B. He's been fine. He's been all right. This guy came in, too many pitches. Tigers simplified him. Had that really good 6-start stretch where he went 6, 7, 8 innings. So far in 87 innings pitched, he's got a 4.03 ERA. His ERA was under 4, but he has gotten hit up a little bit. He had that start against Colorado. Has been kind of prone to the gopher ball. He has 11 home runs this year, but he's only got 20 walks in 87 innings, so his command is cleaned up, and his changeup is really legit. Don't get too comfortable seeing him in a Tigers uniform. He's only got a couple starts left. Eduardo Rodriguez gets an A. He didn't look amazing on his first start coming back, but, it is what it is. He's been really good. In 12 starts, he is 4-5. I don't really care about wins with a 2.64 ERA, 74 strikeouts, only 16 walks. Command's been great. Another guy, don't get too comfortable seeing him in Tigers uniform because I think the Tigers are going to deal him. Joey Wentz gets an F. He's not even on the team anymore. He's in AAA. He's been terrible. Matt Boyd gets a D+. 8 innings, did what he needed him to do, but wasn't amazing. Spencer Turnbull hasn't even made 7 starts, was ineffective. Sure, D- for the 7 starts. Alex Faedo, he only made 6 starts. F, was terrible. Reese Olson, he will get a B+. He's only really had a couple of blow-up, a couple of bad innings. One thing about him, man, is his stuff is legit. That slider's good. That curveball's good. That changeup's good. His fastball's firm. I think him and Skubal in the second half, after they lose Lorenzen and Erod, those two guys have a really good chance to step it up and being a really good 1-2 the rest of the way after those guys are gone. Matt Manning has finally come back. I'm not going to give him a grade for a limited amount of starts. All right, now we're going to look at the bullpen. Lang, Englert, Jason Foley, Cisnero, Chasen Shreve, Tyler Holton, Tyler Alexander. The bullpen as a whole gets an absolute A+ with smiley face stars, happy face. They have been absolutely outstanding. I didn't even care about how bad Mason Englert was for certain stretches of time. I don't care about how bad Tyler Alexander was at the very beginning. The fact that these guys have been used as much as they've been used, this fact that Hinch has had to have so many bullpen games, the fact that they had multiple guys go out inning after inning in that Texas start after just having a bullpen game, the amount of innings that bullpen has kept this team in the game, the amount of guys, other guys they've just randomly brought in. Like, I know Chasen Shreve's numbers they don't look amazing, but he's pitched a lot better than his numbers. Tyler Holton's been absolutely great. Jason Foley's an absolute stud. Alex Lang has been going through it, but he's going to come right back. I'm telling you, Alex Lang in the second half, don't count him out. That first half of the first couple months of Lang wasn't a fluke. He's good. He's going to figure out his command. He's going to figure out how to get these guys out consistently again. He's really good. I mean, I can't say enough. Jose Cisneros has been absolutely really good the last couple of months. They have just been Brendan White. I mean, if they had this bullpen 10 years ago, the Tigers would have won the World Series. It just absolutely blows my mind that now they have a team that's absolutely dog shit, and they couldn't build a decent bullpen the entire time under Dombrowski. And now they're playing for nothing. And they've had great bullpens the last 3 years in a row, especially the last two. So the bullpen gets an absolute A+. Now, a quick second half look ahead. Like I said, I don't think this team makes the playoffs. I don't expect them to win more than 74, 75 games. I think they're going to play at a slightly better clip. I still think the offense is going to have its struggles. I still think that the lineup is still very young. I still think that they're going to have their struggles of scoring runs consistently. You got to hope for the best with pitcher health that these guys are going to be able to come up and stay healthy for the rest of the year. I don't know how much they're going to baby Reese Olson as his innings begin to climb. I really hope Matt Manning and Tarek Skubal stay healthy. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't think they're going to keep Erod and Lorenzen. I think they're as good as gone. I don't think even if they're one game out of first place on August 1st, I think Scott Harris is so dead set on selling to get something for these contracts that either Erod's going to opt out on or Lorenzen's a free agent. And I wouldn't be surprised if they traded some of their relievers, like someone like Jose Cisneros. It would not surprise me. They're going to deal from a position of depth, and they're going to deal and try to get pieces for next year. When I think this upcoming offseason is going to be an offseason where they finally spend some money and finally make some moves. Because coming into this season, my whole thing was, I said this at the start of the year, I thought they looked at the back of the baseball card and said, these guys have track records, these guys have had periods of consistency over multiple years that they've done X, Y, and Z, and they could get back to even something close to those levels. Didn't happen. Javier Baez has been even worse this year than he was last year. Jonathan Scope was terrible, didn't have a bounce back year. And the moves Harris made, I wouldn't exactly call impact moves right away, because Maton's already down, and Vierling's been good, but Lorenzen was your all-star this year. It's more by circumstance than actual performance, but it's still better than anyone Al Avila signed. Tyson Ross wasn't an all-star with the Tigers, or Julio Teheran or Matt Moore. None of those guys were all-stars. So some of those signs have paid dividends, but I think this year and I'm going to stick to this, that this year is about letting the org develop an entire year under him, under his philosophy, under his team of people, to see where the prospects are, to see the advancement in the organization, to see who the guys at the big club take the next step. And I think this offseason, now that he's had an entirety of a season to run everything, he's got an idea who the core is going to be. He's got an idea who he wants to build around. And, who knows who they get in these trades over the next couple weeks when they eventually do deal these guys. And I think it's more so about not trying to make the playoffs just to say you made the playoffs. It's more so about building something that you could actually have a chance to advance in. Because you could say you were in the dance and you could say you were in the playoffs and you ended your streak, but honestly, who cares if you're going to get swept? I would rather not make it, have a subpar record, but have advancement in your progression of getting better, like they have been with their players showing they're getting better, and put something together that's legitimate with a shot versus just saying that you got there and then you're dusted. There's just no point. Now, I'm also excited for the second half because I honestly think that Colt Keith is going to be up sometime in late August, early September. I think he might carry Carpenter his way up to the big leagues and just homer the shit out of every level that he's been at. I think Justin Henry Malloy gets a chance this year sometime, maybe as a September call-up, so we'll see him a little bit. I think Parker Meadows is the closest of the three because he's a left-handed bat, even though right now the Tigers are, after they activated Trey Wingenter, and now there's I forget who they DFA'd, but now there's a spot open on the roster, but everyone thinks it's going to go to Nick Maton. I don't know. Most likely it is, as long as it's not Tyler Nevin, I guess. But those guys are going to be up, and we'll see them, and we'll see, how they react to the big leagues and what they do to the core of the team, and what their little cup of coffee in the big league shows. Do they hit good pitching? Can they hit this pitching, or can they play defense at this level? Even though they're, besides Parker, none of those guys are amazingly good defenders. I don't know. So there's a lot of questions asked. So wrapping this up, don't expect them to make the playoffs because the division's weak. Don't expect them to add at the deadline because the division's weak. And the problems that plagued this team in the first half is going to plague them in the second half, which is the main thing is their offense. I think they're going to pitch better because they got better pitchers, they got more depth, they got more quality, and I think that bullpen's going to be good regardless, even if they trade people. But comparing this year to last year at this time I was ready for the season to end, and I was absolutely just ready for the season to be done. I was tired of watching this shit. Torkelson was sent down. Green was struggling. It was just abysmal. But at least this year, the division's ass, so you can have like a fallacy. Oh, they're only XYZ out of first place, blah, blah, blah. But they got some guys that are knocking on the door that I'm really excited to see. I wasn't this excited to see Ryan Kreidler, but I am excited to see Colt Keith and all these guys up here. So even that they're going to deal and everything else, and I'm excited to see who Scott Harris trades for when they eventually do trade for these guys. So again, I apologize for the length of this video. I was trying to make this 20 minutes long. I failed massively. Those are the grades. That's the first half look at, second half preview, and I'll be back Sunday for This Week in Tigers Baseball. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Go Tigers.